Today, we are conquering Module ACC RD 1.2, Determining Central Ideas and Themes. In our last lesson, we talked about reading closely. I told you to act like a detective looking for a very specific detail with a magnifying glass. Today, we are putting away the magnifying glass. To find the central idea or theme of a passage, you cannot look through a microscope. You have to get in a helicopter and look at the entire forest from above. You are no longer looking for the individual trees. You are looking for the overall shape of the forest. Determining the central idea is historically one of the most heavily tested skills on any standardized reading exam, and the accuplacer is no exception. The test makers want to know if you can read 3 or 4 paragraphs of dense, academic text, and then boil it all down into one single, accurate sentence. They want to know if you understand the fundamental purpose of what you just read. Before we talk about how to beat this module, we need to clearly define the difference between a topic and a central idea, because confusing these two is the #1 reason students lose points. The topic is simply the broad subject of the passage. It is usually just 1 or 2 words. For example, the topic of a passage might be space exploration, or the topic might be the American Revolution, or the topic might be honeybees. The central idea, however, is much more specific. The central idea is the specific argument or point the author is trying to make about that topic. A central idea is a complete thought. Let us use the honeybee topic as an example. The topic is honeybees, but what is the central idea? If the passage is talking about how pesticides and climate change are causing bee populations to decline, then the central idea is human environmental impact is severely threatening global honeybee populations. Notice the difference? The topic is just the subject. The central idea is the author's overall message about the subject. When you get a main idea question on the accuplacer, the question will usually look something like this. Which of the following best states the central idea of the passage? Or, the primary purpose of the passage is to do what? Or, which of the following is the overarching theme of the text? When you see these questions, you must immediately go on the defensive because the College Board has designed a very specific set of traps to trick you. Let us break down the 3 major traps they use in the central idea module. The first and most dangerous trap is the too narrow trap. This is where the test makers take a highly specific detail from the text, a detail that is absolutely true and definitely mentioned in the passage, and they present it as the central idea. They are hoping that because you remember reading that specific fact, you will click it. Imagine you are reading a 3-paragraph passage about the construction of the interstate highway system in the United States. The first paragraph explains how President Eisenhower wanted a highway system for national defense, so the military could move quickly across the country. The second paragraph explains how the highways led to a massive economic boom and the creation of the suburbs. The third paragraph explains the negative consequences, specifically how the highways bulldozed through urban neighborhoods and displaced thousands of lower-income families. So, what is the central idea? The central idea has to cover all of that, but the test makers will give you an answer choice that says, the central idea is that President Eisenhower built the highways to move military troops. If you are not paying attention, you will say, oh yeah, I read that in the first paragraph, and you will choose it. But you just fell into the too narrow trap. That answer only covers the first paragraph. It completely ignores the economic boom in the second paragraph, and it completely ignores the urban displacement in the third paragraph. A true central idea cannot leave out 2/3 of the passage. If an answer choice only describes one small piece of the text, it is a supporting detail, not the central idea. The second trap is the too broad trap. This is the exact opposite of the too narrow trap. In this scenario, the answer choice is technically related to the topic, but it goes way too far and covers things the author never even discussed. Using that exact same passage about the interstate highway system, a too broad trap answer might say, The central idea is that transportation has always been the most important factor in shaping human history. Listen to how massive that statement is. Human history. The passage was specifically about the American interstate highway system in the 1950s. It did not talk about ancient Rome, it did not talk about the invention of the wheel, and it did not talk about human history as a whole. The answer choice is way too broad. The correct answer must be perfectly tailored to the exact scope of the passage on your screen. Like Goldilocks, it cannot be too narrow and it cannot be too broad. It has to be just right. The third trap is the inaccurate trap. This is where the test makers give you a statement that sounds incredibly smart, uses advanced vocabulary, and covers the general topic, but it actually states the exact opposite of what the author believes. They might twist the tone. If the author is praising a new scientific discovery, the trap answer will suggest the author is highly skeptical of it. You always have to ask yourself, what is the author's attitude? Are they positive, negative, or completely neutral and objective? The central idea must match the author's attitude perfectly. So, how do you actively find the right answer when you are sitting in the testing center? I am going to give you 2 visualization techniques that you can use to guarantee you pick the right central idea. The first technique is called the umbrella method. I want you to picture a large rain umbrella in your mind. The central idea is the canopy of the umbrella, the wide part on top that covers everything. All of the other sentences and paragraphs in the passage are the people standing underneath the umbrella. When you look at the answer choices for a main idea question, you have to test each one to see if it acts like a good umbrella. Ask yourself, if I choose this answer as my central idea, do all the other paragraphs fit comfortably underneath it? If paragraph 2 or paragraph 3 is talking about something that does not fit under that umbrella, then it is a bad umbrella and a wrong answer. The correct answer must be an umbrella wide enough to cover the introduction, the body paragraphs, and the conclusion. The second technique is called the headline trick. When newspaper editors write a headline for an article, their entire job is to summarize a 1,000-word story into a 6-word sentence that tells the reader exactly what the article is about. As you read the passage on the accuplacer, I want you to pretend you are a newspaper editor. When you reach the very last period of the final sentence, pause for 3 seconds. Do not look at the answer choices yet. In your own mind, force yourself to invent a headline for the passage you just read. For the highway passage, your mental headline might be, "Highways brought economic growth but destroyed urban communities." Once you have your own simple headline locked in your brain, then you look at the answer choices. You will instantly realize that 3 of the choices look absolutely nothing like your headline. One of them will be too narrow, one will be too broad, and one will just be wrong. But the correct answer will be a professionally worded version of the exact headline you just invented. By predicting the answer before the test can influence you, you protect yourself from their traps. Let us do a quick review of your strategy for determining central ideas and themes. First, remember that you are looking at the forest, not the trees. You are looking for the overarching point, not a tiny supporting detail. Second, beware of the too narrow trap, which gives you a true fact that only covers 1 paragraph. Third, beware of the too broad trap, which stretches the topic to cover things the author never discussed. Fourth, use the umbrella method to ensure your chosen answer covers the entire text. And finally, use the headline trick to predict the central idea in your own words before you even look at the multiple choice options. Finding the central idea is all about seeing the big picture. Authors do not write long essays just for the fun of it. They write because they have a specific point they desperately want to prove to the reader. Your only job in this module is to figure out what that ultimate point is. Take a moment to let all of this information sink in as you continue your route. You are building a powerful arsenal of strategies, and you are going to walk into that testing center at Hudson Valley Community College with total confidence. That concludes our deep dive into Module ACC RD 1.2. Whenever you are ready to tackle the next challenge, which is Module ACC RD 1.3, Summarizing, just send me the word next.